Yes. Good afternoon to all. Now we are going to start our lecture. So as we have discussed yesterday, the main, what we can say, part of our course is that we have to learn the principles on which the machines are working. That's why it is called as theory of machine. And while we are learning that principles, we come across some parts that is called as static and dynamic part of the any moving or stationary part. So we are going to see the static and dynamic part also. Before that static and dynamic part, let me explain you that there are two parts of the science, that is static and dynamic. In static part, what we are going to see is the forces which are stationary, okay, forces which are acting on the stationary body. That part we have seen in the static. Whereas in case of dynamic part, we are going to learn the forces as well as motion. And yesterday, as I have explained you, that it is becoming very complicated when you are going to study the forces and motion. That's why we have made two parts. That is, one can separately study only motion. It is called as kinematic. And when we are going to consider that force and motion, it is called as kinetic. So kinematic and kinetic are the two parts. And when we are going to see the kinematic, at that time we are only studying the motion. So we are forgetting about what forces are acting on that, which type of inertia which will get developed into that component. So that all part we are going to eliminate, and just we are going to learn the motion, that is called as kinematic. And next part is the kinetic, where we are going to consider the inertia of that component, where the forces are applied or motion is occurring. For example, if you are going to see, if suppose here I'm going to draw one wheel, suppose this wheel we have considered, which is rotating on road, plain road, as the normal case. Everybody of us, we have played this in our childhood, that we have rotated this type of wheels. If it is rotating, and in this case, if we are going to consider only, if it is rotating in this way, and it is moving forward, okay, definitely this wheel will not get rotated unless and until you are not going to apply any external force on it. If we are going to apply external force, then and then only motion is possible, right? Here you are going to apply force, and somewhere we are going to get resistance also, and every time we are going to overcome that resistance. That resistance may be of because of friction, and these forces which are acting opposite to each other, if we say this as a F1 force and this as a F2 force, when it is possible to have motion of this wheel in either any direction. If suppose we apply the condition that this F1 is equal to F2, what will happen? Are you able to see screen?
Yes, sir.
Let me know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Right. So what will happen if suppose we are going to have this condition that F1 is equal to F2? If forces,
Will
The
will stay
object is at rest.
will
uh,
stay at
ha, one at a time. Soham,
It do not move or it is at rest position.
at rest position, right? It will be stationary. That is called as equilibrium of forces, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Somebody else was talking. May I know who is?
yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, because both the forces are equal, the wheel will stay at rest position.
Rest position, right. May I know your name?
Muntasim Baijan, sir.
Muntasim Bhaijan, right.
Yes,
Muntasim.
sir.
Yes, as you have explained it, Muntasim and Soham, that it will remain at the rest position. But as soon as this becomes that when we are going to have second condition, we'll say this F1 is going to become greater than F2. Then this wheel will start to rotate, right, on ground. F1 is greater, that is, this force which is applied is higher than the resisting force. So this wheel will start to rotate in clockwise direction and it will move further if the road is sufficient to give the sufficient tractive force. If it is slippery, it will rotate at its place only, right? So this condition we have seen. Now, if you want to study the motion of this wheel, whether it will rotate at its place or it will move in further direction, how it will move in further direction, how much distance it will cover in one revolution, if it is rotating with 30 rpm, what will be the distance it will cover in 1 minute, 1 hour, or in 1 second? That all things which we are going to calculate, that comes under the category of kinematic, where we are not going to consider the forces. Let it be this forces F1 is greater than F2 or F1 is equal to F2 or whatever may be. We are not going to consider, but we only know that this wheel is rotating. So these forces are eliminated. We are not going to consider the forces. Let it be what we know that if unless and until force is not applied, motion is not going to occur. But we are not bothering about the forces. Only we are going to study the motion, right? So if suppose we consider that this wheel will rotate with 30 rpm, then how much distance it will cover in 1 minute? That if you are going to calculate, then in this case we are not going to consider the forces which are acting. In this case, we are only considering that the motion which is of that wheel. Again, this distance you are going to calculate. So whatever may be, we are going to do the calculation 2 pi into n that you are going to say as a 2 pi n t divided by 60. That again t is considered as a torque where force is going to come into picture. But only if you want to calculate the distance travel, it will be 2 pi, okay, multiplied whatever may be the rpm, that will be the distance which is covered in 1 minute. If you want to calculate in 1 second, it will be 2 pi n divided by 60. That is 2 and pi into n. N is the speed divided by 60. That will be the distance travel in 1 second, meter per second. Okay. This 2 pi is nothing but the periphery, n is the speed, and 60 is we have to go and convert it into second. That's why, and no doubt that periphery which 2 pi, sorry, pi d, it should be not 2 pi, 2 pi, it will be pi d. D is the diameter. Okay, pi d n divided by 60. And if you want to write it as a 2 pi, then it will be r. Okay, so pi d n divided by 60, that will be the distance traveled. So if you are going to study only this, then it is called as kinematic. And in this case, if you are going to consider that this wheel is made up of plastic, then how much force has to be applied, or what will be the inertia which will be developed here? That inertia will be, again we are going to calculate as, yes, what is the inertia forces? Can anybody tell me? If anybody is at rest, will remains at the rest, and if it is in motion, will remains in motion. That's what the inertia statement says. and which has been discovered by the Newton. But if you want to write m into a, that is the acceleration, that will be the inertia forces, is equal to f. That forces which you are going to calculate is the inertia forces, right? So this inertia, if you want to overcome this inertia, then and then only this wheel will come into motion. If we are going to consider this inertia forces plus motion, it is called as kinetic. That is kinematic, only motion. Kinetic is nothing but force plus motion. That is inertia plus motion. And if we consider the previous case, that is externally applied forces on this wheel, that previously which we have considered, if that forces are in equilibrium condition, then wheel will not get moved. If we consider this externally applied forces, now inertia is the internal force, whereas the forces which we are going to apply, that are the external force. So this external force, if we are going to consider, it is called as dynamic condition. That branch of science where we are going to study the externally applied force plus motion plus inertia forces, that we are going to call as a dynamic. Okay, so branch is called as dynamic, and that we are going to cover in some last units of this course. So here what I want to tell you only thing that we are going to deal for first 2-3 chapters, 2-3 units only with the kinematic, where we are not going to consider any type of forces which are acting. Okay. Now, after completion of this point, if you have any question, you are free to ask. If not, we will move further. Any question? Can you hear me?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Ajit. No problem. So we'll move further. Now, once we understood what the kinetic is, what the kinematic is, and what the dynamic is, now we'll concentrate on kinematic, where we are going to study only motion. Now, which type of motion we are going to study? Where here we are that syllabus is not included. That motion of moon, motion of earth, study of that motions, that we are not going to do. So what exactly we are going to learn is the kinematics of mechanism. Now this mechanism word is coming in picture. Now, what exactly mechanism means? We are going to see the correct definition later on. But before that, can you just give me a hint, idea, which you are knowing that, sir, this is called as mechanism? Anybody of you? We are coming across small mechanisms at our home. Some domestic applications are there of mechanism. Even when you are traveling on your bicycle, two-wheeler, or in car, buses, you are coming across some mechanisms. No doubt that all are converted into machinery. But before that, if we say that we are interested only to see motion, we are interested to only uh, study the motion of that particular machinery, then can you give me a simple example, any example of any component, or we can say it as a mechanism? Anybody of you? Hello?
Bicycle.
Bicycle, very good. Is very basic and very good example of mechanism. Somebody has written that crank mechanism. Oh, Akshay, you have given very complicated example. Okay, so we are going to reach up to that crank and all that. So that is very complicated. I want very simple, which you are going to use in your daily life. Bicycle is what we can say very simple example. Okay, let it be. It's very good that bicycle daily use component or machinery where we can see the mechanism. Later on, we will come up to mechanism. Anybody else? Any example?
Springs.
Spring. Okay, spring alone cannot become mechanism. But if
Clock,
we are good, yes,
clock, sir.
clock. Okay, clock is also mechanism, okay, which is in daily use, but it's complicated. Wheel and axle, seesaw. Very good. Kunal Shetty has given example of seesaw, and this Abhishek. Am I right, Abhishek?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Okay, yeah. He has given example of wheel and axle. Okay, combined together is going to become gears. Okay, gears alone cannot become mechanism. Gears, when they are used in pairs, it may become mechanism. We are coming at the right path, but I want again very simple example. You are giving very complicated. So I know that you are better than me, but folding table, right? Door, yes, very good. Anybody else? Somebody can give example of sewing machine. Somebody can give example of two-wheeler. Lot many mechanisms are there, which at which we are coming across. Nut and bolt is also a simple mechanism. Screw is also a simple mechanism. So I'll share one screen where we can see the mechanisms. Can you see screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Here it is wedge. If you see, then wedge, if it is used, now where I am going to move the cursor, you can see here. See, inclined plane, it is a simple mechanism, okay, by means of which we can travel a distance, okay, and we can push very heavy load. Then wheel and axle, somebody has given example. Then wedge, here it is the wedge, which is very simple example, which we can place here. Okay, seesaw, somebody has given example. I think you might have searched on Google. Okay, and this is what the we can say the hammer, which is used to pull out the nail. It's also a simple mechanism. This we have seen this pulley is used to lift the water from lower altitude to higher altitude. Okay, here the same example of pulley, but used to have the some different application. Simply, if you are going to see any bottle with its cap and if it is threaded, then this is also going to become a mechanism. Right? These all are coming in the category of mechanism. So this is what we can say the mechanism part is. Then afterwards we'll go to the complicated mechanisms. And we are going to study its motion. So before going to this complicated study of the motion as well as complicated mechanisms, let me ask you one question. We'll go to our presentation now. I'll share the presentation. Okay, can you see here screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So it is very amazing thing that we are, at least on our Google Earth, we can see pyramids, we can see the photographs of that pyramids, and we become that how it has been built. So in that case also, the simple mechanisms were used by our ancient people. So here I'm going to draw one wedge where we can see we have to travel in vertical distance from this point to this point against the gravitational force, and we have to lift, suppose, a weight of 3 tons from one altitude to other altitude. We can say it is here now, okay, and just we have to travel this vertical distance against the gravitational force. And same weight which we are going to travel on this inclined path. And we are going to apply forces. What will happen here? Can you just tell me? Here vertical force is applied, whereas here also we apply this force. To move this W in upward direction. So where efforts will be required higher? Or my question is that where higher efforts will be required? Here I will say it as F1 because definitely it will be different than the force which is applied here, F2. Where efforts will be higher and why? This distance, suppose we consider it as a L1, and this distance which we are going to travel from this point to this point up to center of this weight is L2. So where efforts will be higher? Are you getting my point? Anybody of you? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Just I want to answer. Where efforts will be higher?
Sir, it depends on the weight of the object and the friction.
Right. So we are going to eliminate the friction. That is the first thing. And weight W is same at both the cases because here also we are going to consider it as a W and this weight is also W. Same weight we are going to want to travel at this position.
So less effort will take at the inclined position.
Less efforts will be required at inclined position. Right? But why? Suppose this is our destination, where we can say is the top of the pyramid. And this 2-ton stone, we have to travel up to the top of this pyramid, or we can say, ancient age, we have built great temples in India also. If you go to the southern part, then you will have one Gopur type of construction. It is called as Gopur. Gopur means the entrance of any temple, great temple, where we will find a building which is of near about 30 to 60-meter height. Some buildings are there up to 1,100 meter, that is 1100 meters. So we have seen that at the top they have placed very heavy stones. Then we come to know that how it is possible. And if you think now, it is possible with the help of this simple mechanism where we can say we can get the mechanical advantage. Definitely here F2, that is the effort which are required to move this stone on inclined plane will be less. But in that case, this L2, that is the distance which will get traveled by this force is higher. Whereas if you are going to say this F1 is directly applied against the gravitational force and the distance traveled will be less, but the efforts will be higher. That means this distance traveled and force applied are inversely proportional with each other. If you want to again reduce the efforts, then what you have to do is that just you have to elaborate this ramp. If you want to again reduce the efforts, height will remain same, but distance travel will get increased. Am I right? So this is what the simple mechanism is, where we are going to reduce the efforts, human efforts. Again, we have seen yesterday the definition of machinery, that is nothing but which will reduce the human effort. So we can say it will get reduced human effort, and hence it is going to become machinery. Okay, and the motion, if you are going to study, then it will become mechanism. And this is very simple example of mechanism. We cannot exactly call it as a mechanism, but we can say, or we can get the idea where the mechanism starts. Now, if you take the example of bicycle, somebody has told me that bicycle is the example of mechanism, where we are going to apply less effort and we are traveling much more distance as we are traveling by walking. In case of walking, we are going to apply more efforts, but we are traveling less distance. But if we use the bicycle, then we are applying less efforts and we are traveling more distance. Again, it is depend upon the rider of bicycle that what speed he can achieve, then he can achieve that much speed. And definitely it may be higher than when any person is running on road. With the help of bicycle, he can achieve more speed. So this is also possible with the help of simple mechanism. What happens over there? Let us see. I will delete any question related to this. The point which you have seen. Are you agree with me? All the things which you have
Yes,
discussed?
sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll see example of bicycle now. In case of bicycle, exactly what happens, that one wheel is provided, another wheel is provided, which are connected by means of chain with each other. And we are going to apply effort on bigger wheel and we are getting output at smaller wheel. And on this smaller wheel, we are having axle, which is connected to the road wheel. Right? And here we are going to have paddle. Again, we are doing one more thing to reduce our effort, that we are using one paddle which is having more, what we can say, length than the wheel which were used. On which you are going to apply effort. Directly force is applied here. This force, as it is connected with the axle of this bigger wheel, this will be transferred to the sprockets on this bigger wheel. Then with the help of chain, you are going to transmit that same force to the smaller wheel. The smaller wheel, as it is rotating, it will transfer its motion to the bigger wheel, which is road wheel. Okay, this is road wheel, and this road wheel will get rotated. Now, just I want to ask one question, that what will be the speed of this bigger wheel as compared to the speed of this paddle? If the paddle is rotating with 30 RPM, then what will be the speed of this bigger wheel? Whether it will rotate with 30 RPM, 40 RPM, or 100 RPM. If the diameter of that bigger wheel is 50 centimeters, suppose. Are you getting my question?
Same RPMs.
Same RPM, right? Very good. Then whether this bigger wheel and smaller wheel have same RPM, it will be higher or lower. I'm not exactly asking the figure. If it is rotating with 30 RPM, whether this smaller wheel will rotate with the same RPM or higher or lower.
Higher RPMs.
Higher RPM, right? Why? Because it is small.
Circumference is less, sir.
Right. Circumference of smaller wheel is less as compared to the circumference of bigger wheel. If the bigger wheel is going to rotate with 1 RPM, if it is rotate 1 revolutions only, then the distance traveled by that bigger wheel, suppose here I am going to draw one line which will indicate the distance traveled by the bigger wheel in 1 revolution. From here, I'll draw it up to this point, it has traveled. Okay, it will be equal to pi d. The same way, if you want to draw the distance traveled by the smaller wheel, it will be also pi d. That is, d is the diameter of that smaller wheel. And if you want to show it by line, it will be less. Depend upon, if suppose this bigger wheel has a diameter equal to the 2 times of smaller wheel, then this line will be 2 times longer than the line which is drawn for the smaller wheel. Am I right? Means
Yes.
this bigger wheel will rotate 1 revolution, whereas the smaller wheel will rotate 2 revolutions to complete the same distance. Am I right? Are you getting me or not?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So D1 is the diameter of bigger wheel, and D2 is the diameter of smaller wheel. And if this D1 is equal to twice of D2, then definitely if this D1 rotates 1 revolution, D2 will rotate 2 revolutions. Then what will happen to this bigger wheel, which is directly connected to the smaller wheel? Am I right? how much revolutions it will rotate? The D1 is rotating 1 revolution, suppose. Then D2 will rotate 2 revolutions. Then how much revolutions will be there for this bigger wheel?
Same revolution.
Same means
2.
Just like D2, sir.
like D2, it will rotate 2 revolutions. Am I right? Now
Yes.
in this case, if suppose this is having D1 diameter, it will move linear distance equal to pi D1. It will move linear distance equal to pi D2, whereas this suppose has a diameter equal to D3, which is very much higher than D1 and D2, then this also will move distance equal to pi D3, where pi is going to remain same, but D1, D2, D3 are going to make much more difference, right? So it will move distance equal to pi D3, and as D3 is very much high as compared to the D1 where you are going to apply effort, as compared to the D2 where the efforts are transmitted, and this D3 where the efforts are utilized. So this distance traveled by the person who is riding on this bicycle will be much more higher in one revolution, in his one step. Am I right? So this is possible because of this mechanism. This mechanism is nothing but the simply 2 wheels are there. These 2 wheels are connected with the help of one link. This wheel is going to become one link. Motion of this wheel is transmitted to this rotating or moving link. It is called a chain, because chain is used here. If I'm going to use rope, it will be rope. Okay. If I'm going to use belt here, it will be belt. If I'm going to use the crank here, it will be crank. Right? So it is depend upon which type of link you are going to use. But it is linked with each other by means of this link. Second link is of this smaller wheel. As the smaller wheel is connected with this bigger tire or road wheel, it is going to become one link only, because they don't have any relative motion with each other. Like this paddle and this bigger wheel is going to become one link because they don't have any relative motion with each other. I'll explain it once again. आता आपण बघितलंय की हा बिगर व्हील आणि पॅडल हे एकमेकाच्या बरोबरच फिरतात. ते रिलेटिव्ह मोशन नसती काय, असती तर ती सायकल उपयोगाची नसते. बरोबर आहे, आपण सायकल चालवू शकत नाही. पॅडल जेवढं रोटेट होईल तेवढंच ते बिगर व्हील रोटेट झालं पाहिजे. त्याला आपण क्वार्टर पिन यूज करतो. ती क्वार्टर पिन त्या पॅडलला हलू देत नाही त्या बिगर व्हीलच्या ऍक्सेल पासून. त्यानंतर आपण असं म्हणू शकत नाही की बिगर व्हील आणि हे चेन ह्याच्यामध्ये काही रिलेटिव्ह मोशन नाही. त्यांच्यामध्ये रिलेटिव्ह मोशन आहे, कारण ही जी बिगर व्हील आहे हे रोटेट होते, वेर चेन ट्रॅव्हल होते. लिनियर मोशन आहे, ह्याच्यामध्ये रोटरी मोशन आहे. त्यामुळे त्या दोघांच्या एकमेकांच्यात रिलेटिव्ह मोशन आहे. Whereas this linear motion will be again converted into rotary motion with the help of this second sprocket, wheel sprocket we can say. This is paddle sprocket, this is wheel sprocket. आणि ही रोटेट झालेली मोशन त्या बिगर व्हीलला दिली जाते. तुम्ही मगाशी म्हटला की ह्याच्या एवढंच रिव्होल्युशन ह्या टायरचं असणार आहे, टायर आणि रिमचं, कारण ह्या दोघांच्यात एकमेकांच्यात रिलेटिव्ह मोशन नाहीये. ह्या दोघांच्यात जर रिलेटिव्ह मोशन नसेल तर ती एकच लिंक झाली. ओके, म्हणजे ह्याच्यात आपल्याला जेव्हा मेकॅनिझम शिकायचं आहे त्याच्यामध्ये एक इम्पॉर्टंट पॉइंट आला, अँड दॅट वी आर गोइंग टू कॉल ॲज ए व्हॉट link. Now, first of all, we have to study what the link is. Are you getting my point? To understand the mechanism, first thing which we have to learn is the link, which are connected with each other, and their mechanism or starts. So our study is we are starting from the link. So link, or it is called as element. A mechanism is made up of number of resistant bodies. Now here I will not say it is resisting always. Sometimes it may not be resisting. Okay, we'll see how to the next part. So resisting bodies, out of which some may have motions relative to the other. The example which we have seen, this bigger wheel, bigger sprocket has a motion relative to the chain, whereas this bigger wheel has a motion relative to the smaller sprocket. And we cannot say that it will have same motion because it is rotating with one revolutions, whereas small rocket is rotating with two revolutions. So definitely, though they are having only rotary motion, difference is there. So definitely they do have relative motion with each other. So that relativity also we are going to see in the further part of this unit. But here we can say the links have relative motion with each other. So relative motion with each other. A resistant body or a group of resistant bodies with rigid connection providing their relative motion is known as link. Now this is very complicated, what we can say definition. Simply we have understood that link is nothing but the rigid body which will not absorb any motion or force. Just a minute. Rahul Gaikwad, will you please unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
I'll stop recording.